Okay, we're testing live again here. Let's see here. What does all this stuff do? Oh, I can do a flash on a live stream. That's interesting. Trying to figure out live again here. I don't know if anybody can actually see what is going on. Let me know how the video quality is looking. I'm not sure. I might. Is this live chat? Yes. Hello. Hello. Can anybody see what's going on? Is this blurry or is it looking fairly decent? Can anybody let me know? All right. Well, I was going to tinker with making a video on this, but I decided just to go live instead because I'm not sure actually what I'm going to do with it. But I wanted to know what it would do, if it will catch on fire or crank over. So that's always nice when you have two red cables. I'm going to guess that that's the ground. It looks like it. Yep, it grounds over there. Okie dokie. Here's one cable. Let's see if it catches on fire. Let go of that. Jeez. Got 17,000 cables all everywhere. Well, it has not yet caught on fire. Doesn't do anything though. Let's try PTO. PTO tries to work, but we don't have any cranking. Let's see. Wonder if that'll do it. Nope. I don't know. Carburetor's all froze up though. Yay. How about choke? Oh yeah, she's froze up good too. This would be a big project. Let me know, guys, if you think I should take on trying to get this running. It's a 1973 140. Sat in a barn for 20 years, I think he said. 10 years, I don't know. As you see, it's got hay and straw and dust and dirt and all that shit on it. Let's see here. Yes, give me the live chat. Okay. Well, this isn't going to do anything today, so anybody have any questions? Any information you need that I can answer real quick? I know I'm not smart enough to schedule my lives, so about 6 people in total will watch it, but that's okay. This thing's, I don't even know. I think I tried to make sure it would turn over. Yeah, it turns over. Definitely needs plenty of work. This is going to be one of the next projects. Is anybody interested in seeing me in a video later get the charging system on this working? It does not charge the battery. Let me know in the comments. And this I need to go through the carburetor on. Let me know if you're interested in seeing that. Lots and lots of projects to do right now. This I'm still trying to decide if I should fix. The governor in it is bad. So I've not decided if it's worth doing or not. It's got a rebuilt engine, but the kid that rebuilt it didn't touch the governor, so it just needs a new governor and governor T-shaft, ideally, and it would be a good usable tractor. When I was quite a bit younger, probably in elementary school, maybe middle school, my dad bought a 110 with a snowplow just to tinker with, and I plowed the driveway with it some. Me and my brother did, had a good time, and then I was out of it for a while, and then a friend of mine, John, you might know, he has a YouTube channel also, bought a 212 and let me drive it in high school, and I decided I had to have my own, so that's where the obsession started, because they're just a lot of fun. And as you see, now I have a lot, like 35 maybe. I guess while we're on live, I can just go ahead and go over what I've got going on here. This is a 1970 140 patio. This is basically my parts tractor for the one I'm restoring. And as many of you know, it will be sold at the end of the year. I've got 2 or 3 people in line wanting it. Then we got this 68 110. You guys saw that this spring on the channel. I had a bucket on it. It's decent. I'm going to sell it. And we got the 71 120. And that's a future restoration project. And we got 74 140. I did this one last fall on the channel. I painted it. And last spring, I rebuilt the engine. We're up to 37 hours on it now. 37.0. It's not going to focus any better than that, apparently. And of course, Gravely 430. Bought this summer and got it running. And then the 7112. Same, got it running, I think last year. It might have been 2 years ago now. Then we got 7120 undercover patio. It's next year's restoration project. And then we got a 432 and an 80 cart piled with a bunch of other chowder. I got some extra seats, some PTOs, different pieces and parts. I got a Gravely snowplow frame, some ramps that were given to me. Let's see here. This dethatcher, just a bunch of random stuff on there. Got a 210, it's original, 1985, I believe. It's in good shape. Then we got a 112 and a 110. Both of those have been on the channel. Well, so is the 210. And 812 parts tractor. And we got a whole fluster cluck right here. And we got 110 over there in the corner. 317. That has been on the channel. It's been probably 2 or 3 years ago. This one I just picked up. It can have hydraulic lift added, but it is somewhat of a pain, and I don't know if they did that from the factory or not. But yeah, you can add it. It's just not easy. Then we got a 317. The reason I say it's not easy, by the way, sidetracked, I know. You have to replace, well, I'll show you on this 140. It's going to be different, obviously, but this dash piece is all one piece. To swap it to hydraulic lift, you have to switch the whole dash cowl out to do it correctly. Okay, we got 317 here. That's been on the channel quite a bit. Then we got, starting up there, we got 200, 208, 210, 212, 214. And as you know, we're still restoring the 216. Got this snowmobile. Still haven't done anything with it. Forklift, still working on that. And I think it's this patio. I can smell gas pretty strong. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's putting it in the crankcase right now. No, oil doesn't smell a whole lot like gas. But yes, lots and lots of things that need to get done around here. Come back here, live chat. Well, thanks. I try and put out some sort of content that's, if not helpful, at least amusing. Anybody have any questions or video requests or anything like that? I tried to get a hold of John from Maniac Mower to see if he wanted to go live also, because when I started the live stream it said it had the option to go live with a friend, so figured I'd see if I could test that out, but he didn't answer, so that's fine. I'm sure some people don't want to see him anyway. I've been told to keep him out of my videos. I like the early 216s with the manual PTO. Their starting year was 79, that's what mine is. So I really like those. They're just a really handy tractor to have around. Not a big fan of the, hydrostatics, so like the 300 series. So probably the 79 216 would be my favorite. Which you probably couldn't tell with all the dang hydros I've got now. I need to sell a bunch of them and get back to a lot more gear drives. I do like this 400. It's a darn nice tractor. It'd be even nicer if I could use it, but you can probably see the trail of oil for me backing it in right here, and then, can I zoom in? Yeah. There's a puddle down there. It leaks pretty bad. Come on, let me zoom back out. There we go. Okay. Uh-oh. No, don't do that. All right. I don't know what it's trying to tell me here. Still trying to figure out live, guys, so don't judge me too hard. I'm still trying to get it figured out and working right. Also, anybody interested in seeing anything on that? What it is a Craftsman lawnmower that is custom widened, pulley swapped, and obviously they put a canopy on it. So it's pretty fast and it's pretty fun. But as of right now, it is again broken. I literally broke the axle housing in half. So I tried to fix it, and now the transmission is stuck in the forward gears. I don't think it liked the new parts I put in it. I used 2 transmissions that were different, hoping that it would work, and it didn't. But that's okay. I'm debating selling it or just buying another transmission for it. So let me know if you're interested in seeing anything on that. I haven't been really filming much on it. I do have a clip. Do any of my tractors have Tecumseh 10-horse engines? I have one tractor with the Tecumseh engine. It is a 1968 112 hydraulic lift side tag, and I'm restoring it, so it's in pieces, scattered all about. But yeah, I do have one with the Tecumseh. Not happy about it, but I've already started putting a bunch of money into restoring it, so I can't really sell it and get my money back. So I'm just gonna restore it and take it to shows. But I would not suggest buying one with a Tecumseh, if that's what you're wondering here. They're pretty well junk. I do have a clip or 2. I took that to John's because he thought that he could win a race against a Craftsman lawnmower with his John Deere's. And so I did video that, winning dramatically against him with that. So if anybody wants to see that, I can throw that together and put it up somewhere. Oh. Yeah, I made that mistake before I knew better. Also, the 112 that I bought when I first got started. I was looking for a 112 with hydraulic lift, and I wanted a Kohler 12 horse. And I had seen one with a Kohler 12 horse, and I should have bought it because I've never ever seen another one, so it must have been custom, because they don't make a 112 hydraulic lift with a 12 horse Kohler. So I should have bought it, but I didn't. And so I ended up with this Tecumseh one, and I've been redoing it for the last, let's see here, I'd have bought that probably in 18 or 19, 2018 or 2019. So I've been restoring it since then. And I'm in no big hurry because it is a Tecumseh tractor. Welcome to live chat. Remember to guard, well, you know, been in chat, live chat for 20 minutes. I don't know why it's telling me that. YouTube is just great. I think it's telling me that there's 3 people watching, so that's not super great, but I guess that's what I get for not scheduling my live streams. But I just came on to see if anybody had any questions. The last one I did it around noon, so I guess everybody was probably at work or sleeping for second and third shift. I don't know. But if anybody has any questions, get them out here. Let me try and answer some questions anybody has. I get a lot of questions on the YouTube videos, so I try and answer any questions anybody has. Deck linkage on the 112. Are you looking for... well, the 112 right here doesn't have a mower deck on it. This 210 does. Let me get my flashlight out so you guys can see. You got these arms here that come up to the frame of the tractor, and then you got the lifts back there. And then you have this bracket right here that goes to the front of the deck. I really don't have anything much with mower decks. This 140 has a deck, but it's a different style completely. Your hydraulics are not working on a 112. Is that, are they doing anything, or what are they doing? Sometimes your spool valve will go bad or get worn out, and I just replace them when they do that. I've only had one that got that bad, but it would still work. I could pick the attachment up and it would drift down rapidly. Mr. YouTube. There we go. So, is it spinning with the engine? Is your belt intact? And you say, come back, live chat. Nothing's connected to the lift on the deck. Well, see here. I don't know if I have anything more accessible with that on it or not. Well, this is a 112 hydraulic lift. Is yours a Kohler? This is what your setup should look like. If it's not working, right here is your spool valve. These 3 bolts, it will come off. Don't get any dirt in it. Also make sure these lines are, in the right places. You can have them switched, it doesn't matter. But make sure they're on here and not just plugged. These here are your lifts that get hooked up to the deck. Does it make any noise when you try and lift and lower it? Or is the lift working? The deck's just not hooked up. These are the brackets that would lift and lower it. And they're pretty easy to take off. See if I can do it. You just kind of, well, there's bolts in the holes, but there's a big hole here. You just pick it up and it slides off. The other one's the same way. I guess somebody was losing it. It's probably, well, it could be working. I don't know, you'd have to check. If your deck is on there, it's going to be in the way. It'd be nice if you could get underneath and see if the rock shaft was moving when you tried your hydraulic lift. Also, normally they don't go bad. There's not a lot to go bad. Another thing that you should also check first is right here is your fill plug for your hydraulic oil. This reservoir should be full. Don't fill it all the way up to the top. Go about 3/4 or so full. If it doesn't have oil in it, obviously it won't work either. I do. Oh, okay. Well, let me see here. The Tecumseh has the dipstick right beside the oil pump. And some people do mistake the dipstick for the engine for the Tecumseh hydraulic filler. Well, I'll show you. The 110 has the same hydraulic pump as the Tecumseh. A lot of people will see this and think, oh, this is probably for the hydraulics. But it's the engine. Your hydraulics is over here. And the 112 that I have, somebody put the hydraulic oil in the engine. So, it does happen. Just something that you could check. always check the dumbest little things first because they're the easiest to fix. And also, don't be embarrassed to admit that you've done something dumb, especially if you're starting out. I still occasionally do stupid things and don't realize things, like on this tractor. No spark. I've been running a jumper wire. Well, here's the plug for the coil and the charging. It stopped charging too. Looks like it's in the right place. Well, the other day I realized that it has unplugged itself. So I just need to take that apart and fix it. Everybody forks up occasionally. Okay. For a site for buying parts, that depends what you need. I will usually either use eBay, Hapco, Parts.com, or iSaveTractors.com. I just check all three and see where it's the cheapest. Obviously on eBay, you're going to have way cheaper parts. Sometimes I can find iSaveTractors will put stuff on eBay and shipping will be free through eBay, but if you buy it through their site, they charge you $5 shipping. So that's also something to watch out for. I usually buy stuff from eBay if it's going to be significantly cheaper or if it's something that doesn't matter as much. The points I buy all through eBay, condensers, coils. Most of the electrical parts I buy through eBay. And I don't buy a ton. I usually buy head gaskets and stuff like that through iSaveTractors. And Hapco, I buy all my decals through Hapco. I actually have Hapco decals on this 140 right now. It's only been pressure washed once, but I have no issues with it. All my decals I get through Hapco. They don't have a ton of mechanical parts, so they're mostly my cosmetic go-to. iSaveTractors does more of the mechanical side, but I also do like eBay because it's cheaper if you're on a budget or you're not too worried about it. But one thing you do have to watch out with eBay, if you go on eBay and buy a carburetor for this 140, the choke is the opposite way on the Chinese one. So you got to cut the butterfly, cut the end off the rod for the butterfly and weld it back on the correct way. So that's something you got to watch out for. But carburetors are way, way, way cheaper on eBay for the Chinese ones. If you can, just rebuild your old one though. Oh, that's great. One of those places will be sure to have what you need. I usually don't go through Deere anymore because here in Ohio, all we have is AgPro. And AgPro is not good to deal with, and they jack their prices way up. So if I can, I will avoid buying things from them. But if you can't find it there, there's a chance John Deere will still have it. Yeah, AgPro took over. Oh, crap, I don't even remember. It's been a while ago now. Probably been 5 or so years ago. They're taking over everything here. And they claimed to be a family-owned small business. But, I heard, I talked to people that said as soon as AgPro took over in some of these dealers, every person at the dealer walked out the door and quit. So, a lot of people don't like AgPro. They raised their prices way sky high. For them, it's all about the money, not about the people. We used to have different dealers all over the place, but now I think there's one dealer in Ohio, maybe two, that are not AgPro. And Deere has lost a lot of sales because of AgPro, because they treat everybody like crap. I went in and I was working as a mechanic in the lawn and garden shop, and AgPro just ruined everything. So I'm no longer with the company, and I do not plan on going back to the company because they don't treat you very well. Yeah, they're corporate assholes at this point. I don't I don't know when they're planning on stopping, saying that they're a family-owned business, but you still hear commercials on the radio for them, and they still try claiming that they're a family-owned small business. But yeah, they are not anymore. So, yeah. Okay, bring me the live chat. Thank you. YouTube keeps on getting rid of my live chat here. And I uploaded another video doing each of these. Used the patio this time. I'm kind of surprised that people like to watch it. I know I like to watch the raking the best, but I think it's kind of relaxing just to put it on and sit back and watch it, even muted. But that's just me. All right, well, we've been at this live chat for 32 and a half minutes now, so. They are very useful. A lot of people buy the new rake, which is a V-rake. I recommend buying the straight rake simply because, like on my last video, the grass wasn't as thick in some spots. With a V-rake, your option is one pass is one row. But, I mean, it wasn't really worth doing that, so I put 4 or 5 passes together, and I can do that with this rake. It's nice in that way. It would sometimes be nice to have a V-rake, like when I'm going between things, but I'm usually able to turn and get it to put the grass where I want it. And as for a sweeper, I love mine. It's a Turf Groom Model 136, and I mean, most sweepers are one-wheel drive. This has both wheels driving it. Has, well, let's see if I can turn on the flash here. Enable flash. Here we go. It has these little, grab on to these little, and if you're turning, it's not skidding one wheel. It basically, it's a version of a differential kind of. Also, most sweepers just have like a chain or some sort of rod to pull it along, and the back just kind of drags on the ground. I also like this one because it holds the back up off the ground when it's hooked up, which puts all the weight of the sweeper on the wheels. So if you have, I don't know, 50 pounds of grass in your basket already, you've got 50 pounds of extra traction, which is nice. Also on this sweeper, you have an engage. You pull this rope and lock this knot out here, and it's engaged. In there is disengaged. You do that and it's engaged. Then all you got to do to disengage it from the tractor is pull the rope and it goes back in here. So that's one feature that now that I have, I don't know that I could do without, really. Ooh, come on now. But These don't seem to be as common. I got really lucky, and I picked this one up for $2 at an auction. Then, of course, I think I have 80 bucks in the tires and wheels, or tires and tubes. So I have bar tires for more traction. And then that winch was like 80 or 85 bucks to dump the grass. But now all I have to do is push this button and it dumps, and push this, it goes back out. This was manual dump. This would have been flipped around. So this would have been back there and have a rope on it, and you'd have pulled it and it have dumped that. But I decided to change it around a little bit. So if you can find one of these, I would definitely recommend one. I did start a group on Facebook for these sweepers, and I think there's like 2 people in it. I can't find anybody that has one of these. I did find one on Marketplace a couple months ago for 150 or 200 bucks, but I don't really need another one. They take up quite a bit of space. They're a 36-inch cut from here to here, plus you've got, everything sticking out from your wheels to all your gearing. So it's kind of awkward. It's probably sticking out of the tractor on each side. If I were to pull it with, like 317, it's set narrow. It's probably sticking a good 6 inches out each side, so you got to be careful with that. But it is a little bit more of a pain to store, but definitely a worthwhile investment. Oh boy. We have a Cub Cadet collector in the house. I used to have some Cubs. What would be your favorite model? I had at one point been looking for a 126 or 128 because Cub was about as smart as John Deere back in the day. Maybe not quite, And didn't make a gear drive bigger than that in the first series. I wanted the biggest gear drive with a real clutch that I could get. But then I started talking to Cub guys, and they said that the stock Cub clutch is worse than the John Deere's belt drive, so don't bother. So I didn't. I did have a Cub diesel for a while. Don't remember what model that was, but I have a video on the channel of it. They're not as good a quality as the Deere's. I talked to a diehard Cub guy over the summer, and I do believe he's probably watching. I'm not going to give away any locations, but he said that he used to collect Cub Cadets until somebody let him drive one of their Deere's, and he said he is all Deere now because he likes them way better. It was 63 Cub 100 and a 72 109. I think the 109 is probably hydrostatic. Am I correct on that? I think the odd numbers are hydrostatic and the even ones are gear drive. I wanted like a 140 something, but they were all hydros. They didn't make a gear drive one with a 14 horse, so I never did find a 124 or 128 like I wanted, so I was never able to pick one up. But I wanted to build the ultimate workhorse. Okay. See, I like the gear drives better. A lot of people like the hydros, and I am starting to understand why. I've been running a lot of hydros lately, 317, 140, and man, I got back on this, and it's just not the same having to clutch every time. But I do like the gear drives better because I can use way more power out of this 10 horse with a gear drive than I can out of this 17 horse with a hydro. So you get way more power out of a gear drive, but it's all in opinion. I do like what they did on the John Deere 400, 420, 430 in putting a high-low. So it basically has a 2-speed gear drive transmission behind the hydrostatic transmission, and that allows you to gear yourself down to get more power, which I really like. I also wish they didn't put Onins in so many things. I don't know what everybody else's opinion is on those, but I hate them. I am a Kohler only kind of feller. Everything in this building, everything in this building over here, with the exception of obviously my forklift, and this has a Briggs, but everything else has Kohler engines. I got anything from an 8 horse on up to, this has a 20 horse in it. That's got a 16. 317 has a 17. I like my Kohlers. Okay. What about wheel horse? I've never liked wheel horse. I had a friend that had some in high school, and he always had problems with them. They're not built very well. I've never liked the Toro either, which took over for them. So I've never owned one, so I can't talk like I've run one. But it seems like the wheel horses just weren't built heavy enough. Yeah, they did have a Kohler engine in them. He was having transmission problems with his, I believe. One of them he broke the frame on or something like that, and the other one he had the transmission apart because it went bad and wouldn't do what it was supposed to. I don't know if he was just beating on it, but I've never had one, so I can't say whether they're all great or all bad, but I've never been a fan of them. I don't really have a desire to own too many of them. I really like my Deeres. And then the Graveleys are pretty nice too, but they don't have the quality that the John Deeres do. I will definitely say that. Ford garden tractors. I've never had one. Never really had any experience with them. I believe Jacobson built those for Ford and just badged them that way. The same with, Oliver and Minimo and numerous other ones. They had Jacobson or Simplicity or something like that build them, and they just rebranded them. Yeah. 317 is probably my favorite hydrostatic garden tractor before you jump to the super garden tractors like the 400 over here. Like I said, you need more power to run a hydrostatic, and the 317 has more power without going to an Onan. So I really like the closed frame tractors. I'm not a big open frame guy. The closed frame I like because you can put just a sleeve hitch on. Simple, way, way, way cheaper than a 3-point. Easy to change out. Well, I don't know what all you're looking for, but I probably have a mower deck over there. And I don't sell sleeve hitches, but I do have a chisel that goes on a sleeve hitch, or a cultivator, I guess. I don't know what else I'd have that I want to sell for one of those. I already sold my snow blower for one of those, and my extra tiller. I don't really sell a lot of attachments, and when I do list them, they usually go fast, with the exception of mower decks. I used to sell them like hotcakes, but now I can't hardly give them away, so I got a big stack of them. A 110 with hydraulic drive. They never made one. They were all gear drive. I do have a 110 hydraulic lift, if that's what you were looking for. But the 110s all had the Peerless 2300 gear drive, 4-speed, with the exception of 63 and 64. Come back here. Yeah, the rototillers, they're pretty great on a 317. I have this 317 with a tiller, and I'm not really sure if I want to sell it yet or not. It's real nice, original. I'd kind of like to keep it and use it, but I just haven't had time for it. They do make a small front end loader, but you are going to pay quite a bit for one there, $1,000 and up. This is my 110 hydraulic lift that's for sale. I already sold the other ones that I had. This is the last one I just listed the other day. It's a 1968. It does run and drive, and it doesn't burn oil a lot. It'll smoke sometimes under load or just starting. Nice original seat. All the tires seem to actually be holding air for some reason. It's kind of rare around here, but everything works on it. When I got it running, it had that front bucket scoop thing on it. No, don't go away, live stream chat thingy. Yeah. That's one thing that I don't do with mine. I don't mow with any of my John Deeres. I do have a deck on this 210, but I did that for a customer who then backed out, so I'm going to sell it like this. And I did mow a little bit, but it's a decent original. I mostly mow with the Graveleys. I got a sickle bar on right now, which you can't see because it's looking darker in here than it actually is. But I also have a brush hog for the Graveley, right there. And so those are definitely nice to have. I have a sickle bar to put on the 3-point hitch of the 400, but I need to fix the 400 first. Well, that's something that I've never got into, is pulling. I'm not really interested in building a pulling garden tractor because I can't really use it around here on the farm. I would at some point like to take some of my garden tractors just stock to a pull and see how they do, but I don't really have any interest in building one just for pulling. Anything that I have is going to get used around here. It's got to be functional. Yeah, I would imagine. You don't see any zero turns in here because they're pretty well useless, and they're quite helpless in the mud. And here in Ohio, it just laughs at us and continues to rain. So, yeah, we constantly see people stuck in their yard with their zero turns because they are completely helpless in any amount of wet grass. It doesn't help the tires that they put on them, but still. And you can't really work one. Come on, live chat. Okay. Yeah, that's, well, I mean, this one has a 12 horse, and I was brush hogging with it, and I've brush hogged with the 14 horse and the 432, and I had a 430 with a 16.5 horse Onan, and it was pretty powerful, but it was junk. But they mow pretty good with a brush hog. It's just a 30-inch brush hog, so you're not going anywhere fast. And the 400 series, all it is a walk behind with a frame, so you're even in high gear, you can't go very fast, but they do pretty good. Yeah, we still have the hoopty. It's sitting outside in rough condition. I have, over the last couple years, gotten a couple of clips of it being used I could throw together, but it doesn't get used much anymore. My buddy that bought it and has it got a girlfriend, so he doesn't come play with it anymore. So it's just sitting outside. I think he's been here 2 or 3 times in the last year and a half, 2 years. Ooh, a 4-8 in with a brush hog. Man, very cheap, but you get what you pay for. They sit way low to the ground, so be careful in the mud with those too. I had at one point had, I had the 420 with the 3-point in the rear PTO, but I'd like to get a 540 PTO on this and just get like a 4 or 5 foot brush hog to put on this tractor. That way I could get rid of the Graveleys, because I think this would be more fun to mow with a rear mounted brush hog, 4 or 5 foot. Quite a bit faster too, because these go like 3 miles an hour. They're very, very slow. And they don't have the quality that the Deeres have, like I said. Oh, yeah. I guess mud wouldn't be an issue out there. Out here, all we see is mud all the time. I think 2 years ago I got stuck in the yard with the 216 with wheel weights, bar tires, and tire chains. But I wouldn't have got stuck probably without tire chains. Tire chains hurt you in the mud more than they help you. Unless you can keep from spinning. No, I didn't blow it up. I've probably got 2, maybe 3 videos up on the channel of restoring it. The valve springs got so loose that I didn't have compression. The engine would not run, and the valve springs that were in it were a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch, I don't remember, shorter than the new springs. So it's fully rebuilt. The engine's most of the way back together, so it's almost back in action. This winter I'm hoping to be plowing with it. Ooh, what would I rather mow with? Well, I don't really like to mow with any of them. The 317 would be nice to have the power. If it was a little bit more reliable, cleaned up a bit better, it would be a darn good one to mow with. The 400 would be a really good one to mow with. It has a 60-inch deck for these, so you could mow quite a bit at a time. I wouldn't mind doing either of those. It would sometimes be nice to have a gear drive mowing out here, but with the hand hydro, that's probably a little nicer to mow with. So I've mowed with this 210 and a 39-inch deck. That just goes really slow with a 39-inch deck. So, the 210 does run really, really smooth though. It doesn't shake, so it is very comfortable to mow with. It's just slow going with a 39-inch deck. I have mowed with the 216, and it mows fine, but those 16 horses just aren't, it's not healthy for them to be run at full throttle all the time. Yeah, this 317 actually came from someone that just mowed with it, and so the mower deck is still sitting outside. There's nothing wrong with the deck, except it was filthy dirty when I got it, so it's been outside to get washed. But the engine that was in this, if you guys saw the video when I first got it running, that's what mowing will do to these engines. Well, any engine really. Mowing is about the hardest thing you can do on one of these tractors, because you're at high RPMs working for an extended Biden moment over here, an extended period of time, which is just not good. It's what they're made for. It just wears them out faster. So I choose not to mow with mine. Yeah, I've got 5 110s for sale. You want me to show you what I got? I got this 1968 110 hydraulic lift. And then I got one over in the corner. Those are the only 2 that run. The other ones are projects. I'm pretty much selling all of my 110s and 112s. I'm not selling my patio, but other than that, they're all going. 314 is less desirable because it is an H1. It's like buying an H1 140, so it's a little less desirable. Last summer at the auction at our John Deere show, one sold running and driving for $250, $350, might have been $450, something like that. They're not super expensive. Running and driving in pretty good shape. You can get one for $600. The Bucketeer is sitting right here. The first restoration project in the spring is going to be this 212, and I'm going to put the Bucketeer on that, and that's going to be its permanent home. But right now, that burns more oil than fuel, it seems, so I'm going to rebuild it first. Get it freshened up, probably paint the Bucketeer also. You see the bottoms, got no paint left. So that's where it's been. It's sitting there with its brother for the rear. This is the rear mounted bucket I got. That was an easy way to store them, and the lift is inside of it. How much? Okay. I got 3 non-running ones for $300 a piece, or this one's $500 and the other one's $500. They both run. This one does need $500 for this one. It does need a new clutch spring if you're going to work it. It will drive itself around, but, well, I think this is the one that needs a clutch spring. The clutch is fairly weak, I think, on this one. Might have been a different one. But I'm pretty certain it's this one needs a new clutch spring, which probably like $20 or $30 off a parts tractor or something at the top. I mean, if you go to a parts yard and take it off yourself, probably like $5 or $10. I've never bought one, but it's not super hard to replace. Just it's more time consuming and a pain than anything else because it sits. The clutch spring, well, your variator is bolted right here, and your clutch spring is right in this section. Was your 317 running for that amount when you bought it? I would be, I mean, depending on the condition, that sounds like a fair price. I wouldn't say it's a steal as much as just a better price. I've had offers on this one up to $2,000, so I think you're still doing fine. This one only has a tiller, but it is all original. And as you see, it's in very nice shape. Yes, on a 430, I would eventually like to own one maybe. I am not really looking to get one super hard. I'm watching for one for, $300, $400, $500 out of a barn that's sat for 10 years. Mainly because that's cheaper to do it that way, but also to have more content for you guys so we can get it running on the channel and have something else to do as if I need more projects. But I don't really like the way they look. They're kind of ugly. So I'm not really after one. Some people keep telling me that I need a diesel, and that would be the one I would go for. I am around Worcester, Ohio, about 10-15 minutes from Worcester. Oh yeah, I wouldn't mind having a 430, but I think it's really kind of ugly and dumb the way the nose sticks out, 2 feet past the front tires. And once you start getting into the weight of these, they're not really effective in the mud out here. They get stuck really easy, especially with the 430 with the diesel in the front. That's a lot of weight on the front end. So if you get into mud, you're sinking in the front and don't have enough traction in the rear to go anywhere. So I like the smaller ones with the single cylinder Kohlers because they're lighter in the front end. And if you need more weight, you can always put a weight on them like that, slab weight. Or I have a weight bracket and suitcase weights. Suitcase weights are on the 140 right now. They're kind of in the back for the plow. But I got 3 or 4 suitcase weights laying around. Only one that's John Deere though. Ooh. Well, for a 3.7 or for a 318, that's a fair price. I mean, that's top dollar, I think, for those. But I would not buy a 318 because it has an Onan in it. So some people like the Onans. I hate them. I've had 2 318s, and they were a smooth tractor, except for the Onan engine. If they had a Kohler in them, it would have been a great tractor, one, if I had to go very far for it. Just because I just hate them. And the ones I had, I got the one running on the channel, and I think I got $1,500 for the 2 that I had. They didn't seem to be worth anything. But every time I get something, it seems to devalue. Like when I bought the 400, thought I was doing great at $550. Then like 3 days later, I saw one for $400. So yeah, whatever. Yeah, if someone offered you a 314 for $300 and it runs and drives, that's a pretty good price. For $300, that's about what the engine costs. So those a running 14 horse is probably $200 to $300. I know they are if you go to a parts yard, but Michigan, Lansing area. Yeah, I think that's just like an hour into Michigan or something. We seem to go to Michigan constantly, getting stuff. Everything's always in Michigan. So we always stop in Toledo at Nick's Family Restaurant, just off the turnpike. So if you come down to Ohio from Michigan, they open at 8 a.m. or 6 a.m. every morning, except the last time. They were on vacation, so it was closed. And it's not a chain or anything. It's family owned. If the owner is not there cooking, they're closed. So really good food, and you get a lot of food. So don't order a lot. Yeah. Fortunately, I haven't had to replace the coil on this one yet, but I'm guessing it's not going to be long till I will. They're a great engine as long as you have the brain power to keep oil in them, and don't sit on the side of a hill because these don't have an oil pump, the Series 1. But I love them. They're my favorite twin cylinder engine of this size. I haven't got to use the 400 a ton, so it's got the 19.9, so basically 20 horse in it. But it seems to do really good too. But I think I've put like an hour on it. I put a new meter in it when I got it because it had sat outside. Yeah, I've got 2.5 hours I put on it. So, and I'm sure some of that was on the meter when I bought it. Oh, about an hour away. Well, and you can come and buy, half a dozen tractors or something, Trying to thin out my collection. I'm down to selling about 15. I was going to be selling about 25 a couple of months ago. I'm down to about 35-ish tractors, I think, from last year, I think it was. I was up to almost 50. And I just don't have the kind of space for that. So ideally, I'll have 200 through 216, which will come up to here. And then I'll have my two 317s. And then all this can get scooted together and the 400 can go there. And then I'll have, I would like to get 69 112 or 10 hydraulic lift to put here, 69 112 hydraulic lift to put here, my green 120, my green 140, and then I'll get a 110 hydraulic lift that'll go here. Got 12, 20, and then a 140 patio will go here. So I'll have 4 patios also, and then I'll have more space to go. Ooh, what about Sears? I hate them. They are junk. They only use junk Comsa. To my knowledge, the years that I am familiar with, a friend of mine likes the Sears, and it's because he doesn't really do the mechanical work himself, so he has other people do it, mostly me and his brother, but they are just junk. They're built really, really light. I can say they have a darn good transmission. I believe they have a 3-speed Peerless with a high-low, which is a good transmission. I really like the transmission in them. But the engine's junk, and they're just not built heavy enough. They're the same as the Sears lawnmowers are now. It's just a cheap lawnmower to buy, so they're just a very, very, very cheap piece of equipment. And a friend of mine has a Sears that we actually put an 8-horse Kohler in, which makes it better. But he still can't plow with it. The last time I saw him try to plow, he dropped a 4-inch David Bradley plow in the ground that he rigged up for his 3-point hitch on it. And he didn't get 2 inches deep and he spun out. He didn't have enough weight. They're not heavy enough. And there is a video on my channel. He tried to drive it up a pile of sand that I had. And it's so light in the front end, it just flipped right over. So I really don't like them. I will not buy one. But some people like them. Just not me. I don't want one. Yeah. The Case small tractor or the garden tractor? I don't like the Case really. I've never had a Case garden tractor. But Case tractors we don't like. We used to collect all brands of tractors, and John Deere was just the best quality, so we went with all Deere. And I've had a little bit of everything in the garden tractor world. Well, I guess I can't say that because I haven't had a lot of things. I've had quite a few different brands, and the John Deere is still the best. I think if I had to pick a second brand of garden tractor, I would probably go with a 1960s Simplicity. I've not had any issues so much with them. They're really, really heavy built tractors, and I don't know, I kind of like them. They're fairly heavy, and they have an interesting look to them. And so Simplicity made the Alice Chalmers, obviously Simplicity. I think they made Home Light and just a bunch of other stuff. Simplicity had their fingers in everything. They were building tractors for, I think they did Mini Mow. And so I just like them. They're pretty good. They're very, very heavy. So that would be my second choice in a garden tractor. Ingersoll case. Nope. I don't like those. I don't have any interest in owning one. I have seen people failing with those. They can't do much with them, it seems. I have cast iron wheel weights, but I do not sell any wheel weights. Wheel weights, well, any weights for the most part, and sleeve hitches are two things that I don't sell any of, because with this many tractors, I still don't have enough weights for all of them. But here, I'll make somebody jealous here real quick. I have 5 wheel weights in this case on the back of this 140, plus a set on the tractor. So right there is 3.5 sets of wheel weights. I got the single wheel weight at an auction. Somebody had 3 weights they were selling, so yeah, okay. But I pick them up anytime I can. I do not get rid of them. Ooh, I need to catch back up on the comments here. Yes, the John Deeres are the best. And I laugh at the Cub Cadet people a lot. Sorry for you Cub Cadet people. But they'll buy a Cub Cadet, and Cub Cadet makes wheel weights. I have a set right there. They're just junk. Cub Cadet didn't make good weights. They weigh like 50 pounds for both of them. So Farmall Cub Cadet people, will use John Deere weights. A lot of brands people do that. And it just kind of, I laugh at them because their brand wasn't quality enough to make good wheel weights. And so, I just kind of laugh at them. I think that if you own a Cub, you should not be allowed to have John Deere wheel weights on it, because you're committed to Cub. Go buy some Cub stuff. John Deere 111. I was given one with no engine at one point, which I promptly gave to John because they're kind of crappy. Transmission in it didn't work. I think it only went backwards, but I don't remember. And I had one that was a gear drive one. The first one was hydro. I had one that was a gear drive that was lifted. It was, 2 feet from the floor to the bottom of the fender pan, I think. And I never did have it running. The guy that I sold it to said he's thinking of selling it, so I don't know. I probably won't buy it back, but I could. I don't really like them. I don't really like any lawnmower. I like the garden tractors. And an easy way to tell a garden tractor from a lawnmower. See these rims? 5-bolt pattern. Okay? Now you walk over here. This is a lawnmower rim. 3/4 inch keyed shaft. That's an easy way to tell from a distance away. The rear tires are significantly different sizes. So I don't have any lawnmowers at all. I don't buy lawnmowers. I buy all garden tractors. Do I have a 420? Nope. I had one, but I sold it. Had an Onan, and I don't like the Onan engine. There is videos on the channel a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, when I got it and got it running and driving, and then a couple of videos of using it. The John Deere quality started going down in the 80s and 90s, yeah. The one thing that they did that hurt them, in my opinion, was they shied away from the Kohler engines, and they started putting an Onan in it, and then later Kawasaki, and they started going with the aluminum engines, which is what you do today, apparently. So I don't really want any garden tractors much newer than this 400 series. I wouldn't mind having like a 455 or something. I had a 445 at one point, and they have the Kawasaki, a 22 horse liquid cooled or something like that. And they have plastic cam in them, cam gear. So I don't really like those. Good tractor till the plastic cam gear says bye-bye. But right now, my newest tractor is, let's see here, probably the 87 216 I have. I don't know what the 16G is. I don't remember. The old Cub Gordon tractors. Yeah, a friend of mine has one, and they're fun. They're easy to play with, but they're not built like the John Deere's. Cub must have skimped out on metal or something, because John brought his over. He's got a 105, and he's always aggressive with all his stuff. He brings his 312 over, and he'll jerk trees so hard trying to pull a tree that's too big that he'll jump the front or back end off the ground as he jerks it. He did that with his Cub Cadet, and I think he jerked on it a half a dozen times, and he almost pulled his hitch completely through, egging it out. And it wasn't bad to start with, but the Deere doesn't really bother it. So Cub did not use a good metal. And also, I still see people breaking the giant differential they have in the garden tractors. So I don't know what the deal is, but yeah. Does it wear down the engine? Well, the short answer to that is yes. Basically, running the engine wears it down. I don't run at a full throttle unless I need full throttle to have the power. So the higher RPMs you run, the harder it is on your engine, because if I were to sit here and scrape this hood slowly, it's going to take a while to scratch the paint. But if I were to do it fast, it's going to scratch it way quicker, kind of deal. Same with running an engine. The higher the RPM, the faster it's going to wear out. So I don't run any engine any higher RPM than it needs to have the power for what I'm doing. So I usually run about half throttle when I'm plowing. Most of the garden tractors are 500 and up. Yeah, they have been going up a little bit more. I think it's because the Biden virus, China virus is over. I used to pick non-running tractors up for $100 and under all the time, and now I just don't. Like this tractor here, I think I paid $350 or $375, or it was almost $400 I paid for this non-runnings, and it sat for quite a few years. There's just not a lot of profit anymore. During the China virus, I was buying and selling a little bit, but I've resorted to mostly just collecting now. What else do we have? Yeah, it did not help that they made smaller frames. But everything is getting lighter duty, more and more and more. So, I mean, there's not a lot. Everybody's doing it, though. It's not just Deere or Cub or anybody else. Everybody's making things lighter and more throwaway. So, my favorite series is the 200 series, just because I use them. If I was collecting just to have something that looked good, it would definitely be the 100 series would be my go-to, because they have a great look to them. But the 200 series, for what I'm doing, have the best functionality. And I can see in the screen here, it's starting to get dark enough out here that you guys aren't going to be able to see much for much longer. So any other questions, get them shot out here. I'm going to get this wrapped up because I don't have lights in this building yet. We just built this building about a year ago now. And, well, a year and a half probably. And we don't have lights in here yet. So I'm going to get this wrapped up. We've been at it for an hour and 20 minutes. So does anybody have any other questions or comments? I will also be making sure that this is up so you can watch it later. Well, thank you. I will keep having fun and making videos. I know I did slow down on that this summer. I apologize. I've just been working on a lot of the restoration stuff, and it's just a lot of, well, you get to this point and now I got to wait for parts for a week kind of situation, and waiting for the machine shop and waiting for more parts and waiting for paint to dry. So I haven't got a lot out this summer, but now that it's getting into the cooler time of year, plow day videos will be coming out here in the next couple months. I've only got some tomatoes left growing, and once they're gone, we're going to be getting plowed. So hopefully you guys will see that fairly soon. The handheld hydros, you mean the hand lever hydrostatics? Is that what you're talking about? They are pretty easy to use. You do have to get the hang of it. You have to get used to it. But I like the hand hydro way better than the foot hydro because you still have the dual brakes. And that is the main thing. I have to have dual brakes on these hydros. That's something that I must have. I don't want to buy a hydro without dual brakes. I wish that the gear drives had dual brakes also, but Deere did not have the insight to do that apparently. So I've thought about custom building it, but haven't got that far. But yeah, they're pretty easy. Once you get used to them, you don't hardly even notice or think about it. Well, thanks everybody for watching. I am going to go ahead and clock off here, and I'll see you on the next video, whatever that may be. If you have any video comments or requests or questions or anything, just go ahead and leave them in a comment on any of my videos. I try to check all the comments and read every single one. So I appreciate everybody watching, and I will see everybody next time.